on the Jacob Buer Show today. I am so happy to be joined by Eric Trump. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Jacob. I'm doing well. Your emails really moved me, so thanks for reaching out. And it's you're at a great school. It's a school I know very, very well, and congrats on the show.
Thank you so much. So take us through a little bit. What have you been up to lately in your life? It's been pretty hectic between business and politics, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's hectic. I run a great company. I run the Trump organization. Obviously, we have the best hotels around the world, best golf courses, a lot of commercial buildings, residential buildings, a lot of other stuff. Great properties like Mar-a-Lago that you always hear about in the news, and it's exciting, incredible business. It's never done better than it's doing right now. And then naturally, obviously, politics, which is kind of a side gig for me. I'm not formally involved, but I'm also a surrogate for my father, a guy I care about. He's an awesome guy. He's been an amazing father to me, and I care deeply about him, and believe in him and everything that he's done. And so it's yeah, it's a crazy life. And then I have two beautiful kids, a great wife, and a lot of other things that fall on my plate. But the world is good, life is great. We couldn't be happier, and we're doing fantastic across really all fronts.
For sure, that's awesome to hear, especially when it's such a hectic year. I mean, you got young kids, and then on top of that, your father's running for president, and you're running $1 billion business. So you got the best three-in-one combination right there.
Yeah.
So is it hard juggling a business, family, and trying to help your father on the side get elected president when you got numerous of requests? Is it hard like that, or what's that kind of been like this year?
Yeah. Listen, man, I was obviously in your shoes, not too long ago, maybe about 20 years ago, as I went to Georgetown University. I was telling you before, I know Purdue very well. My father-in-law played football there, so he's a captain of a football team and did very well. Won a couple bowls, I think, with you guys, back in the day. And I was just at your campus. You have an amazing school, but when you're in college, sometimes life is a little bit monolithic, right? It's maybe there's a little duality to it. You work hard, you kind of play hard. It is life is, and I think you'll figure this out at some point. I think the biggest struggle of life is trying to get time management right, and it's obviously I work a lot. Running a $5, $6, $7 billion company with assets all over the world that are spread out. I live on a plane. I'm on a plane 200 days a year. And when I'm doing that, I feel guilty that I'm not there with my kids. When I'm, with my kids, I feel guilty that I'm not there with the company. If I'm doing something, in politics, I feel guilty that I'm not with my kids slash the company. And, you got to try and, figure out what's important. You've got to be there at the right moments for all of the important things in your life. And, time management's just critical in the world. And you'll learn that at college. You certainly learn when you need to cram for that test and when you need to get your act together and when you need to be right. And you start learning that in college, but in life, when you've got a lot of things pulling at you, it's, it can be a struggle, and it's probably my biggest struggle because, I'm constantly on the go.
For sure, especially in a year like 2024, which has to be amazing to have a front row seat to it, but also like, oh my gosh, this is going to be busier than 2023. So, do you have advice that is stuck with you that maybe your father or anybody, could even be a professor, that anyone has given you about just life in general? Do you have any piece of advice that kind of has stuck out to you?
The thing that, my father always kind of instilled in us, and I think something that we really cling to every single day is, follow your heart, right? So I think the most important message for college, kids, yourself as you go out there. I mean, what speaks to you? I mean, obviously social media speaks to you, and, obviously kind of passion for this podcast speaks to you because you put a ton of time into it, and it shows. You showed in the email. I don't think I've ever done one of these before, on a platform like this, and your email moved me, and I said, listen, as soon as you sent that over, I go, listen, I'm in. I'll come on the show, and but follow your heart, and everybody has different things, likes, interests. Follow that, and if you're passionate about something, the passion in your voice will resonate, and I'm telling you, you're just going to be good at it. If you're not passionate about something, don't even think about it. It just don't think about it if you're not passionate about it, because you're not going to get to the office early. You're not going to leave late. You're not going to be interested. You're not going to care. You're not going to sound enthused. You're not going to be trying to sell whatever it is every single day. So, find something that's ideally in a lucrative field, right? Something that has legs. I'm not suggesting because you're passionate about basket weaving, you start, you try and make that your career, because it's probably not going to end well. But find something that you're passionate about, and B, something that's on the cutting edge and that can be super lucrative in whatever you want to do. And I'm not just talking about monetarily. I'm talking about, morally, monetarily, from a whole host of standpoints. What fulfills you, and really kind of drive after that. Follow that. And I'm telling you, you'll be unstoppable. But don't do something that's going to bore the hell out of you that you have no interest in doing. Life's too short. You want to look back and say, listen, I built something. I created something. I built a skyline. I built those towers. I did whatever it is that moves you. But make sure whatever you're doing has meaning and that you truly, truly love.
I think that's a big thing. Truly, truly love. Sometimes people go to law school and they don't actually like it. I've done some work in politics, and sometimes the lawyers are like, I'm just doing it to get a paycheck. So I really appreciate you teaching on the passion and love train bandwagon, because I think that's very important. So thank you for sharing that. And then this is kind of a couple other questions I have. What's the golden reason why somebody, and I say golden reason because politics is huge. What is the golden reason why a young person should support your father or vote for your father over, because who knows what's going to happen, over whoever the Democratic nominee might be on election day?
Well, can I take this? Yeah, that's a good follow-up to the second part. But let me take this just from a basic standpoint, right? When you're young, you don't have assets, right? And guess who a bad economy hurts the worst? People that don't have assets. You look at the last 4 years and you look at inflation, and this is like right down my wheelhouse because I'm a real estate guy. But you've had 10% inflation for several years, and then it was in the very high under my father, you had 1.4% inflation. I mean, it was perfect. So what happens? So a college kid goes out, and guess what? You get your first job. You have to rent your first apartment before you can buy your house. Well, who's getting hurt by inflation, right? I mean, you're paying higher rents, you're getting crammed down on everything, and despite the fact that you're paying higher rents, you're not actually there's no ownership associated with that, right? Who does well with inflation? People that have hard assets. When you have an economy that has high inflation, as we've had, when you have an economy where everything's more expensive, go buy gas, go buy eggs, go buy groceries, go buy beer, right? I'm sure you guys are drinking a lot of it. Go down to your local sandwich place, buy a sandwich, or go to your local pizza place and compare those costs from 5 years ago. You know who gets hurt the most? The people who are starting off in their careers who don't have hard assets, which appreciate under inflation, right? You just get crammed down. And you want a strong economy, and you want a safe world, and we want America to be the most prosperous place ever. We want the American dream to be alive and well. We want another 100 Elon Musks, right? We want all those possibilities. We're not getting possibilities right now. We're getting nothing out of this administration. We've got wars breaking out all over the place based on American weakness. We've got an economy that's crushed the lower class, the middle class, and frankly, the youth, who again don't have the disposable income because they are just starting out. And the American dream is not alive and well right now because everything's too damn expensive. And so, listen, I guess, there's nothing that's more important to you guys and to your age group. God, I was there, that finding that dream job and having a great salary and getting great benefits and being able to have fun and being able to take that vacation. And it's awfully hard when you're paying $4,000 for a one bedroom in New York, and you're trying to make it. You can't do it. You're underwater day one. And, also, frankly, I mean, the cost of education is insane. It's insane what some of these schools are doing. I mean, the educational cost is vastly outpacing grants in this country. And so, listen, I think people need to vote with their hearts, right? And based on their principles and morals. But I would look to the economy, and I'd look to the opportunity that you're going to have when you graduate that school and you're out on your own, and and now it's your turn. And I'm telling you, Donald Trump is no better president in the history of the world when it comes to the economy than him.
I think, again, based off the results that we've had the last 4 years, it's going to be very telling to see how the American people vote for when it comes down to your father or whoever the Democratic nominee might be. I'm leaving it at that because who knows, who it honestly could be. So much could change. And then kind of one other thing that I like to ask and kind of close with is, I'm Gen Z, of course. You touched on how you were a college kid not too long ago at Georgetown. What is kind of your golden rule that you're telling your family, as they get older, advice wise, when it comes down to finding, I guess, that purpose in life. We touched on, of course, a couple minutes ago,
Yeah.
finding your passion, but what's kind of your like golden rule that you live by?
I think loyalty, love of country, love of family, those are really important. Hard work. I think we're losing hard work in this country. I mean, every week, there's another holiday, there's another this, there's another that. And it's a shame. America was built on people who work really hard, and they achieved the American dream because of hard work. And excuse the language, but they went out and they busted ass, and they developed something great, and no country in the world could compete with us. And it's interesting. I spent a lot of time around the world, and if you actually look at kind of societally, America really developed during our industrial revolution based on the automobile, right? So you bought a Model T, and Jacob, if you wanted to go from your school and you wanted to drive to Philadelphia, you could do that. Or if your best friend wanted to drive from your school and wanted to drive down to Texas, they could do that, right? There was no barriers put on society. You look at the UK, they were a train-based society during the Industrial Revolution, right? They went from point A to point B. They got on that train at 10 o'clock in the morning. They got off the train at 3 o'clock in the afternoon with everybody that they know. It was very one-dimensional. And, we have more creativity in this country. We have better minds. We have better entrepreneurship in this country. We're doing incredible things. I mean, incredible things. But you take that mindset and you start stymieing it based on less work ethic, less hard work, less, I really think you shoot a lot of what this country stands for, right? I mean, there's a reason that we lead the way, and you've got the best and brightest coming out of Purdue. Awesome school, beyond awesome school, great, great, great school. Go out there, kick ass, work hard, conquer the world, create the American dream, continue to propel this country forward, unlike any other country can match. If we do that, China doesn't have a damn chance. They don't. They're different thinking. It's group thinking. It's a little bit different. No one can touch America if that's what we do. But go out, work hard, have an awesome family, have a big family, love life, create something great. And look back when you're 70 or 80 or 90, in those final days of your life, look back and know that you created, something great, made a great difference. And and then you didn't waste the time that you're not sitting there scrolling Instagram. As tempting as it is, but believe me, I do it. Everybody goes down that rabbit hole, but just know that you didn't waste life. What life's short, and go out there and kick ass every day.
For sure. And do you mind saying boiler up, hammer down?
Boiler up, hammer down.
There you go. You're accepted by Purdue now fully. And then just one last thing I want to close with are 3 quick fireball questions.
Tell me.
What is the longest time you've ever spent on an airplane traveling somewhere?
All right. Taking the longest flights in the world, JFK, Joburg, South Africa. That's, I think, the second longest. And then there's a direct flight to Australia. And I've done both of those. So I've spent a lot of time on a plane and a lot of long hours on a plane. I just came back from the Middle East. I was in Dubai, Oman, a bunch of other countries. And so I've taken the longest flights there are, and I travel about 200 days a year. And so there's no one that does more airline miles than I do.
For sure. And then 2 last quick questions. Favorite room in the White House and favorite food. I think those are 2 ones.
Lincoln bedroom. So cool. I mean, you walk in, the Gettysburg Address is on the nightstand. If you stay there, the bed is like 2 feet longer than a normal queen size bed because Abraham Lincoln was a super tall guy. And so the Lincoln bedroom would be one. And then what was the last question?
Favorite food.
Favorite food would be, I'm a big steak guy. Love steak. I'm kind of a carnivore, so if it's red meat, I love it.
For sure. Well, Eric, I appreciate you coming on the Jacob Buer Show so much today. Is there any other advice you have?
No, guys, go live an amazing, happy life. Jacob, you sound like an amazing guy, and obviously incredibly motivated in your own right that you're doing this in college, and good for you. Big props. You're gonna go great places, and go live beautiful lives and represent this country in amazing ways. Represent your families in amazing ways, and just remember, we live in the greatest country on earth. We really do, and we've got the greatest flag. We've got the greatest freedoms, and let's not let that disappear. So. Appreciate it, my friend. If you ever need anything from us, you let us know, all right?
Thank you.